Look, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't got time to make a proper video today, but I want to keep uploading often, so I had to do something for you. Apologies if my video upload from a few days ago, how to notch an earring post, upset some people, because in that video I was talking about my shock at how other people just bodge stuff and then they're fine with that. But in my defense, I'll tell you my situation is I've been a full-time employed jeweler for many years, and part of that job I'm not allowed to make my own jewellery or just advertise my own stuff or just do my job basically, and I was fine with that. But I left last year, and so now I'm starting Facebook pages, joining on Etsy, and then getting onto this YouTube channel stuff. So it's almost like, my perception is almost, I imagine it's like coming out of jail after a 20-year stretch and then just walking into this world that's completely different to what you last knew it as. So I've been around very highly skilled jewelers for many years, people much better than me, and they've always been pushing me to be better and better. So for me, that was kind of normal, to always just try and do things best possible. So now I'm not there anymore, and I'm woken up to this world where people just bodge stuff and they just do things really poorly, and then they actually defend their way of doing it like that. It's really shocking for me. So that, my motivation for that video was just my experience of coming face to face with bodge artists for the first time. But it's really not meant to be an insult to anyone who's starting out doing jewellery or just learning it just for a bit of fun, something to do at home. That's fine. And actually, with my channel, I really want to show how things are. Professional jewelers are doing it behind closed doors, and I hope I can share something that might be useful for you, give you new ideas, new ways to try things. And I will always push it as an important thing to just keep that open mind attitude. Like, I've been doing it for many years now, over 20 years, almost 25 years, and I'm still really eager to learn new ways of doing things. So I almost welcome people, if you tell me I'm doing it wrong or you know a better way, I'm very happy to try your way, and then it'd actually be fun to make a video, if something's obviously not too time consuming, and make a video doing something my way, and then make a video, also film myself doing it the new suggested way, and then we can compare both ways, like how difficult it was, the time it took, finished result. I think that would be an interesting thing. So yeah, if you know other ways, alternative ways of doing things like I'm showing, yeah, I'm very happy to know about that. But there is an element as well, I've got my style of doing things that I prefer to do them a certain way. But you know, like collets and stuff, I've done videos in the past, I actually know like 3, sometimes 4 different ways of coming to the same finished result. And I've just got to choose one. Well, I'll always choose my favourite one, the way I can do quickest and neatest, but there are other ways to do things. So I'm well aware that some people may come up suggesting other ways of doing it. And there's a chance I already know, but I just did it my way because that suits my style more. Anyway, this video is meant to be short, but I'm waffling on too much. It's just a quick one about looking after your tools and keeping things clean and sharp. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. First up, got these in the late 90s. They are old and they are also still a little bit shiny. I lost it a little bit. A lot of my tools have got damaged a little bit since I've been in Japan, because the room where I'm staying, or keeping them, is just so hot and steamy through the summer. A lot of my tools went a bit rusty, which I thought was a shame because I looked after them really well for many years. Okay, so first step, you're going to need some spray oil. This is Japanese stuff. This is just cheap stuff. This is the most common thing you find in the shops here. Don't know what that says. Sukurio. I don't know what that says. Yeah, Japanese love their quality and they're very proud of themselves for the quality of their things they sell. And this is alright, but not as good as WD-40. Although one thing I will give it, I just finished a can, this is a brand new can. The last little bit sprayed out under high pressure, which is something that WD-40 will never do. The nozzle breaks, or just something goes on, or it just loses pressure before you get to the end. I don't think I've ever thrown away a can of WD-40 finished. You always have to throw away a little bit out the bottom because it just won't squirt out oil. You end up just holding the nozzle down and shaking oil out of it. I get through loads of it. So I've got like old cars and old motorbikes I've restored in the past. So WD-40 was great for just not even lubricating moving parts, but just putting on the surfaces of metal, it just helps things stay clean, protects them from dirt, makes them easy to wash next time. It's really good stuff. So spray oil, use it all the time on everything. And now we're going to use it for looking after our jewellery tools. So get tissue, squirt on there, and just wipe it over. Anything polished, it's going to be good to have this stuff on there. It stops any kind of moisture in the air doing damage to them. Keeps the polish on there, nicey. And just sort of rub it over each one. The block for those ball bangers to go in, whatever they're called, can't remember. You can, if you're feeling a bit saucy, you've got I've got a stain in there, I don't know what that is. You can, if you've got a fine paper whizzer, or even just a bit of sandpaper in your fingers, just scratch out any bits in there. This one I fill up with water sometimes when I'm keeping stones cool. But yeah, same thing. Be a bit more vigorous with the oil with this one maybe. And just scoop them out, because they do collect dirt. There's always ones you don't use that often and they get very dirty. And then one day you do want to use it and you're gonna have trouble getting all the stains and rough bits in there out. Grip a bit of tissue with tweezers. Clean it out. Now this is a good example of what like heavily humid air did to my tools here in Japan. This was like in very good condition, and then obviously just being on my bench, got all rusty, look. Kind of ruined it. So if you move to Japan or any humid countries, I would, if you're taking your tools there, I would go heavy with the oil on them. Look at that in there, ruined. I'm literally going to paper that out. Look at that. See how brown that tissue is? That's just all surface rust coming off. So that's as good as that's going to get. Short of really buffing it back, but that's kind of the standard. I've got to keep this out now. These are covered in oil. When you get them new, they're always wrapped in plastic and a bit oily. And there's a reason for that. Oil is great. We love oil. Look at that. A couple of minutes. Coming up like new. God, I'm such a nerd. Alright, I've never done my block before. Getting silly now, but let's just see if it does anything. Gets a lot of dirt off. If I really need to wipe that clean, I would just get a bit of paper, just do that. But, you know, doesn't harm it, does it? Guess what's happening next? My old boss stopped me doing this once. He said it's going to be terrible, but I think it's actually awesome. Not terrible. Oh, did you see that? See how much dirt come off there? Oh my god. I'm going to send this video to my boss, telling me he's wrong. Actually, the spray oil will eventually corrode the steel, so... It's important to look after these, because if you've got any little scratches in there, any little pits, when you roll metal through, it's such a high pressure. I've got no idea what the pressure is on that. Must be like a ton or something, I don't know, probably more. Yeah, any little dents or little nicks in there, you're gonna have an imprint of that on your bit of metal, so you can balls up what you're making. So really look after these. Don't put anything stupid in there. And I say that because I know when I was an apprentice, I got caught putting cheesy Watsits through there. I got mother of all bollocking. They're saying, quite rightly, all the salt and stuff will like ruin the steel. So if you've got any like 17-year-old apprentices, make sure they're not really immature like I was at that age. Just all moving parts. Ain't gotta go crazy, just a little bit. There you go. Go on the sides. If you pay like 500 quid or whatever these things, it's worth looking after them. So what I do is, with my oil pot, just literally, not get enough oil on it, I just dab it on. Oil moves around a lot, you haven't got to put loads on to get it to sink in. There you go. I don't know if you heard that, but I certainly felt it. Just went all smooth and nice. So that's reduced wear and tear on my pliers there. These cheap. These are only cheapy ones, but may as well give them some oil. Just dab it on there. Obviously don't get oil on the handles, because that's going to balls you up when you use them. Obviously go through all your pliers. I would love to design and bring out my own range of tools. I've got loads of ideas for tools that don't exist. Needle files, you can't really do a lot with them. Don't ever file lead or anything really soft, it's just going to clog up the teeth. Again, these went a bit dark from the steamy air here in Japan over last summer. They were quite a silvery colour. And what's interesting, when you have the same tools as other people in the same workshop, because there's not many producers like making these, so it's quite likely you're going to have exactly the same tools as other people around you. People's acid that comes out of their skin, their sweat, there's different acidities, just like rust their tools differently. Like me and one other guy, the last place I worked, were pretty similar, but the other guy, all his tools were brown, like his sweat was more like acid, I guess. Are your file blades nice and secure in the handles? If not, this worked a treat. It's the first time I did it when I did this one. This was just poly filler, any kind of like filler. Going in there, just stick it in the hole and then ram it in there. When it dried, it sets like stone and just held on really well. Saves paying like £3 or whatever for a new handle. So anyway, I'm about to ultrasonic that handle. You totally never need to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a nerd. And yeah, you can get the blade wet, doesn't matter that much. You can also dry it quickly. Any problems? Spray oil. I have no idea if that made a difference or not. Let's wait for it to dry and then we'll have a look. There you can see that kind of drying out now. Looking very clean. So if you want to clean your handles, just give them an ultrasonic. Look, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't got time to make a proper video today, but I want to keep uploading often, so I had to do something for you. I got some online sales, so that was great. So most of my spare time at the bench today, I'm trying to get on with those. And they're not finished, but I'll sort them out later. But I thought, at least while it's daylight, got a nice light coming through the windows, I will film something. So seriously though, look after your tools. Keep things, sharpening tools. Parallel pliers always get quite bashed up on the end. And they go kind of what I call baggy, a little bit slack. So I don't need a lot. Just give the nuts a twist, tightens them up a bit. Helps if it doesn't rotate the other side as well. What my other one's like? He's all right. Oh, that's nice. So you can see the end is all chewed up. Lost my corners. If you've got a grinding machine or grinding wheel for your polisher motor, that's perfect. Just bang it on there. I haven't got one anymore. Just the old paper disc will do. Just sharpen it up, get it flat. These were quite chunky on the ends. I used the grinder to get them more sharp. I find them much more useful sharp. Just get rid of those nasty little marks. These are not as bad. And just have a look at all your pliers, all the flat ones. I wouldn't go in there because there's a chance they won't close properly after that. Just tidy them up a little bit on the ends. Alright, just looking around at other tools I could sharpen up. Now this, up until very recently, I was the world's only jeweller in the entire world, out of all of us, to have one of these and not bash in the point on that. About a couple of weeks ago, boom, look at that, the point sticks out. I must have just, I'm so careful not to do it. It must have been that one, it's just on the edge. Yeah, banging in there and took the point off, so that's a shame. So anyway, a lot of jewellers have these and they're a right old mess and they have to like paper disc it, do whatever to get that to a point again. But trying to look after it and keep it perfect, because that angle, the angles of that are perfectly matched to sit in there. So if you start sharpening that, it's not really going to do its job when you're banging out collets. I hate that saying where a bad workman always blames his tools, or a good workman never blames his tools. I hate that. If your tools are crap and rubbish, you're going to do a crap and rubbish job. So look after your tools. If your tools are nice and sharp, like even these little ball phrases, if you're pushing really hard on one that's like lost its teeth, it's more likely to sort of just catch or slip off somewhere. When they're fresh and new, they cut really well and they seem to grip into the position where you want them. So when these are good condition, far more likely to do a good job and do it quicker as well. Same with drills, like I think I mentioned it in my drill sharpening video. Like just keep them sharp and you'll just do a much neater, better job. More likely to slip off and make a mistake or break the drill if you're pushing really hard. It's the rotation of a sharp drill that does the cutting. It's not how hard you're pushing. So yeah, lots of benefits looking after your tools. So just stop every once in a while and have a look, see how they're wearing out, and just feel how they could be better. Like tighten up things, even giving that screw a tweak in your tweezers. If they're a bit baggy, they don't really cut solder very well. They sort of fold over. They kind of open up and then the solder just folds rather than cuts through. So keeping these sharp and then keeping them nice and tight, oiled is nice. You're just going to do a better job if your tools are in good condition. An example of dodgy tools ruining your ability to work to your best potential. I recently made this bench for my polisher motor to sit on, and my jigsaw was the blades. I only had the blades that come with it, and they were too short to cut through this, and they were kind of bending as I was sort of forcing it through, so I couldn't cut perfect right angles. So see, there's a bit of a gap there. But you know, I battled on. I managed to line things up reasonably well, but see, there's a bit of a gap there. Couldn't avoid that because, oh, look at that. Yeah, see, every time I cut through it, it was not cutting straight. It was bending at an angle. Crap tool, crap job. So there you go.